this experiment, heat exchangers. So the aim of experiment is to determine the effectiveness and log mean temperature difference and the overall heat transfer coefficient. So for both parallel flow and the counter flow heat exchanger. According to the direction of flow of the fluid, so the heat exchangers are classified into three types. One is the parallel flow heat exchanger, and second one is the counter flow heat exchanger, and third one is called the cross flow heat exchanger. So first one, for a parallel flow heat exchanger, so both the fluids are flowing in the same direction, parallel and the same direction. And for second one, counter flow heat exchanger, fluids are moving in parallel but in an opposite direction. And third one, it is a cross flow heat exchanger, so fluids are flowing perpendicular to each other. Now according to our syllabus, we have the only parallel and the counter flow heat exchanger. Now first, when you solve the problems in theoretically and when you do the experiment, first you are familiar with the temperature distribution diagram. Now you consider for the parallel flow heat exchanger. For parallel flow heat exchanger, now if you consider the double pipe heat exchanger, double pipe are a concentric tube type of heat exchanger. Now inside one fluid is flowing. Suppose if the inside hot fluid is flowing, outer surface of the inside tube, there is a cold fluid is flowing. So there is a heat is transferred. Both, you observe the figure, both are moving in a same direction and it's both are in a parallel. Now you draw the temperature distribution. Now at the inlet, the hot fluid, it's having the higher temperature, and cold fluid, it's having the lower temperature. When the hot fluid, when move along this pipe, so its temperature will be goes on decreases from what temperature? From temperature TH1 to TH2. And similarly, the cold fluid, it enters at the same inlet, right? When it flows along the length of the pipe, it absorbs the heat from the hot fluid and its temperature increasing from TC1 to TC2. At the inlet, so the temperature distribution at the inlet, the temperature difference is called delta T1, and the temperature difference at the outlet is called the delta T2. So the temperature differences at the outlet is a delta 2. So in a parallel flow, both the fluids are moving in parallel and in the same direction. Next one, for counter flow heat exchanger. For counter flow heat exchanger, now we observe here, now it is also a double pipe heat exchanger, or it is called the concentric tube type of heat exchanger. Now the one fluid, right? So one fluid, it is moving from, suppose if the hot fluid is moving from left to the right side, and hot fluid, it's having the temperature TH1, and when it's moving along the length of the pipe, its temperature goes on decreases up to TH2. Now the cold fluid, it is moving in the opposite direction. Initially it's having temperature TC1. When it's moving in the opposite direction and it absorbs the heat from the high temperature fluid and its temperature increases up to TC2. And we observe both are in parallel, but what about the direction? Both are parallel and it is moving in the opposite direction. At the left hand side, so the temperature difference, the TH1 minus TC2 is called the TH1 minus TC2. It is delta T1, and other side delta T2 equals TH2 minus TC1. So once you know the inlet temperatures difference and the outlet temperature difference, you can find out log mean temperature difference. So once you know the log mean temperature difference, now you calculate what? You calculate the overall heat transfer coefficient. So once you know the overall heat transfer coefficient, then you calculate the effectiveness, you calculate the actual heat transfer and the maximum heat transfer. So once you know the actual and the maximum heat transfer, we can find out the effectiveness. Now here you do both the experiment, parallel flow heat exchanger and the counter flow heat exchanger. For both the experiments, you find out the overall heat transfer coefficient and you find out the effectiveness and you find out the log mean temperature difference. Next, so you do the experiment. Now first step, you switch on the main power supply. Next, you switch on the water supply. So once you switch on the water supply, now you switch on the blower, right? You switch on the blower. Next, you switch on the console. So once you switch on the console, now here it is a display temperature indicator. So you have the total 6 thermocouples. Now first T1 represent the air inlet temperature, that is the atmospheric air temperature, that is a T1. And we have the blower here, right? Blower. Now, and here this is the RU5s. So across the RU5s, there is a manometer connection. Then the air, it sucks the blower air and it passes through the heating coil. Actually, here there is a heating coil. The cold air from the atmosphere, it passes through the heating coil. So when the cold air, when it passes through the heating coil, so the temperature of the air, it is increasing from the atmospheric temperature to the higher temperature. So the hot air, now this total setup is called the heat exchanger, and this total setup is called the heat exchanger, and it is a double pipe heat exchanger. Now we observe here, there is one small pipe and there is one more pipe. It is called the double pipe heat exchanger, right? Double pipe heat exchanger or a concentric tube type heat exchanger. Now the hot air, it enters, before it enters into the heat exchanger. Now you note down the temperature of the hot air, right? And it passes through the heat exchanger and it is exit here, and it's having the lower temperature. And similarly, cold water. Now the heat exchanger is what? We have the two fluids. One is the air, another one is the water. Air is the hot air and water is the cold fluid. Now the heat is transferred from the hot air to the cold fluid. Now, so the cold water, it enters here and its temperature, if you don't know, you observe here, there is the T1 represent air inlet temperature, T2 represent hot air temperature, the inlet, and T3 represent hot air outlet temperature, and next one is the water inlet. This is the T4. This represent water inlet temperature, and here this represent the T6, that is the water outlet temperature. Now before you switch on, now you set the flow rate of the fluid. So the flow rate of the fluid is 1 liter per minute. So you know the mass, right? You know the volume of the fluid, right? So you know the density of the water. You got what? You got the mass of the cold fluid. You know the mass of cold fluid, and you know the specific heat of the cold fluid. So once you know mass and specific heat, you know the water inlet temperature and you know the water outlet temperature. And you remember here for parallel flow, so the same equipment we are using for both the parallel flow and the counter flow. So you set the parallel flow, here, you change the knob's position. So here they represent the knob position, right? So you change the valve position. Now when you put in both, this is in horizontal and here it is in vertical. So there is a representation on the board, right? So you put the valve position in this position. Now it acts as a parallel flow heat exchanger. If you want to do the experiment in a counter flow heat exchanger, and here you have the dotted lines. According to the dotted lines, you change the valve position. Now this is it acts as a counter flow heat exchanger. So if you have the same equipment, you do it for both parallel flow and the counter flow heat exchanger. So how you change the position? Here there is a representation. According to that representation, right, you put the valves and you change the direction of flow of the fluid. If it is a parallel flow position, now the fluid, it enters here and it is moving along this length, and here it is exit. The high temperature of air, it is exit here if it is a parallel flow. Now cold fluid, it enters. Now you observe here, cold fluid, it enters here. Both are same inlet position, and the cold fluid also is moving in the same direction. Now it acts as a parallel flow heat exchanger. Both hot fluid air and cold water, both are moving in the same direction, and both are enters at the same position. It is for the parallel flow heat exchanger. If it is a counter flow heat exchanger, you change the position of these walls, right? You change the position of the wall. Next, what happened? If it is a counter flow heat exchanger, the hot fluid's direction will be remain same. It is moving from left side to the right side. But cold fluid is what? Water is the cold fluid. Now the water enters here, right? And it is moving from right side to the left side. Now in counter flow, what happens? Both are in parallel. But hot fluid is moving from left to right, but cold fluid is moving from right to left. Both are in a opposite direction. It acts as a counter flow heat exchanger. Now you supply the power supply, right, and you switch on the blower. Once it reaches the steady state, now you put the knob at position 1, right? You put the knob at position 1. Right, you got what? That is the air inlet temperature. Next, when you put the knob at 2, that is the hot air inlet to the heat exchanger. This part is called heat exchanger. So next is what? T3 is the hot air exit temperature. Next, you put at the 4th position. So you note down the cold water inlet temperature. Next, and T5 also is there. It is the intermediate temperature. You don't consider T5. So according to here, you consider what are the temperatures. You consider T2, and you consider T3, then you consider T4, and you consider the T6. You don't consider the T5 temperature. So once you know all the temperature, okay, next RFIS meter is there. Now here you find out H1 and the H2. So once you know the H1 and H2, you got what? You got the water head. Now you convert water head into the air head. Once you know the air head, you calculate volume of the air. Once you know the volume of the air and density of air, you calculate mass of air. So you know mass of air, and you know specific heat of air, and you know the mass of water, and you know the specific heat of water, and you know all the temperatures. All the temperatures means what? The hot water inlet, the hot air inlet temperature and outlet, and cold fluid inlet and the outlet. So you have the two methods. One is NTU method and another one is the LMTD method. Once you know all the temperature, so once you know all the temperatures, you have the formula. Based on that formula, you calculate LMTD. So once you know the LMTD and you know the heat capacity. Heat capacity means it is a product of what? It is a product of the mass and the specific heat. Once you know the heat capacity, which is minimum, which is maximum, you calculate. Based on that, you calculate maximum heat transfer. Maximum heat transfer equals C minimum into the hot fluid inlet temperature minus cold fluid inlet temperature. So based on that, you calculate maximum heat transfer, and you know the mass of heat transfer and specific heat for both the fluids, and you know the temperatures. So based on that, you calculate the actual heat transfer. So you know actual heat transfer and you know the maximum heat transfer, then you calculate effectiveness. After conducting the experiment, now we go for the calculation part. So first we do the calculation for a parallel flow heat exchanger. For parallel flow heat exchangers, right, already you set the flow rate of the fluid, that is a water flow rate, so 1 liter per minute, and T1, that is the air inlet temperature before the orifice, and T2 is the hot fluid of air before it enters into the heat exchanger, and T3 is the hot air exit temperature, and T5 is the cold fluid inlet temperature, and T6 is the cold fluid outlet temperature, and this is the manometer difference, H1 and the H2. Now the difference you got in mm, you convert it into the meters. Then you calculate, you have the formulas, you refer the data handbook. From data handbook, 8th edition, page number 152. So for parallel flow, so when you want to calculate log mean temperature difference, you write this equation and you calculate the log mean temperature difference for parallel flow heat exchanger. Now before you start, first you calculate volume flow rate of the air. So you know the coefficient of discharge for orifice is a 0.62. And here capital A represent the cross-section area of the orifice, and here the formula pi d squared by 4. You know the diameter of the orifice, right? So once you know diameter of orifice, you calculate the cross-section area of the orifice. And in the experiment, you got the water head, you convert it into air head. So you have the formula, you convert air head and you calculate volume flow rate of air. Once you know volume flow rate of air, now you know the density of air, you calculate the mass flow rate of air. Next, heat transfer. You know all the temperatures, you know the mass flow rate of air and mass flow rate of water, and you know the specific heat of water and the specific heat of the air. Now you know the mass flow rate of water is 1 kg, and you know the specific heat of water is 4.187, and here delta T is the temperature difference of the cold fluid. So delta T is here, this is important for parallel flow. Delta TW is T6 minus T4. So T6 is the water exit temperature, and T4 is the water inlet temperature. So you calculate what? You calculate the actual heat transfer. So next you calculate the log mean temperature difference. So you know the T2 temperature, that is the hot fluid inlet temperature, and the T4 is the cold fluid inlet temperature, and T3 is the hot air exit temperature, T6 is the cold water exit temperature. So you know all the temperature, so you substitute and you calculate the log mean temperature difference. So once you know log mean temperature difference, and you have the formula Q equals to U A delta Lm. You know log mean temperature difference, and you know the surface area of the heat exchanger, and you know the actual heat transfer. So once you know all the values, so unknown is what? U is the unknown. You calculate the overall heat transfer coefficient. And surface area of the heat exchanger is pi dl. You know the diameter of the tube, length of the tube, and you know the log mean temperature difference. You calculate the overall heat transfer coefficient. Then next step, you find out heat capacity of the fluids. Heat capacity means what? The mass into specific heat of the fluid. Now you calculate the heat capacity for water, and similarly heat capacity of the cold fluid. Now you check which one is the minimum and which one is the maximum. Now you calculate maximum heat transfer. Maximum heat transfer equals Q max equals C minimum into TH1 minus TC1. So you know the hot fluid inlet temperature. Here hot fluid inlet temperature is TH1 equals to T3 and cold fluid inlet temperature TC1 equals to what? TC1 equals to T4. Now maximum heat transfer equals maximum heat transfer equals C minimum into T2 minus T4. So you calculate maximum heat transfer and you know the actual heat transfer, you calculate the effectiveness of a heat exchanger for a parallel flow heat exchanger. So after you conduct the experiment, now you do the calculation part for a counter flow heat exchanger. So you know the volume flow rate of water and you know the hot fluid inlet temperature and this is T3 is hot fluid exit temperature and T4 is the cold fluid, that is cold fluid is water inlet temperature and T6 is the cold fluid exit temperature. And this is the manometer difference, you know H1 and H2 and it is in mm, you convert it into meters. Now we calculate rate of heat transfer, log mean temperature difference and overall heat transfer coefficient, effectiveness. Now first you calculate the volume flow rate of the air. So you have the formula CD into A into root of 2GH. Now you got what? You got the water head, you convert it into the air head. And here capital A represent the cross section area of the orifice. So you know the diameter of the orifice. So based on that you calculate the cross section area of the orifice. So once you know all the values, you calculate volume flow rate of air. So you know the volume flow rate of air and you know the density of air, you calculate mass flow rate of the air. And you know the volume flow rate of water and you convert it into, you calculate mass flow rate. Mass flow rate equals to 1 kg. You know the specific heat of water 4.187 and delta TW. Here you remember delta TW means the cold water fluid temperature difference. Delta TW equals T6 minus T4. So you know the T6 temperature, that is a cold fluid outlet temperature, and T4 is the cold fluid inlet temperature. You know the mass of water, you know the specific heat of water, you calculate the rate of the heat transfer. Actually it is a printing mistake, you make the correction. So the hot cold fluid exit temperature is T6 and cold fluid inlet temperature is T4. Now you know the temperatures and you know the specific heat and you know the mass flow rate of water, you calculate the heat transfer. Now you know all the temperatures, right? Once you know all the temperatures, you substitute here and you calculate the log mean temperature difference. So here you draw the temperature distribution diagram for counter flow heat exchanger. So here for counter flow heat exchanger, it is a T2 and this is the T3, hot fluid inlet temperature and hot fluid exit temperature, and this is the cold fluid inlet. Actually in parallel flow it is a T6, but here in parallel flow it is a T4, and in the counter flow the cold fluid inlet temperature is T6. This is very important, right? And exit temperature is the T4. So you remember in parallel flow inlet temperature is T4 and exit is the T6, but in a counter flow heat exchanger the inlet temperature is T6 and exit temperature is T4. Now you calculate, this is the delta T1. Delta T1 equals T2 minus T4, and this delta T2 is T3 minus T6. Now you substitute and you calculate the log mean temperature difference. So once you know the log mean temperature difference, and you have the formula Q equals UA delta Lm. And here A is not cross section area of the orifice, it is the surface area of the heat exchanger. And surface, here it is a mistake, cross section area, here it is a surface area, pi dl. You know the in the observations, so you know the length of the heat exchanger and diameter, you calculate the surface area. Once you know surface area and you know the log mean temperature difference and you know the rate of heat transfer actual, you calculate the overall heat transfer coefficient. So once overall heat transfer coefficient is over, then you check the heat capacity. You know the mass of both the fluids. Mass of cold fluid is water and mass of hot fluid is the air. You know the mass of both the fluids and you know the specific heat of the both the fluids, you calculate the heat capacity. You check which fluid having the lower heat capacity and which one having the higher. So you consider minimum value. Now you calculate, next step is you calculate the maximum heat transfer. So maximum heat transfer is what? Q max equals to C minimum into hot fluid inlet temperature. Hot fluid inlet temperature is T2 and cold fluid inlet temperature is T6. This is for counterflow heat exchanger. So you know the maximum heat transfer and you know the actual heat transfer. Then you calculate the effectiveness. Effectiveness of heat exchanger equals actual heat transfer by the maximum heat transfer. And when you compare the effectiveness for parallel and counterflow heat exchanger, the effectiveness for a counterflow will be higher than the parallel flow heat exchanger.